My name is Milton Berglund. I'm a resident of the town of Barnstable at 21 Studley Road in Hyannis. And we're here to talk about Stewart Creek again. We, the residents along Stewart Creek, continue to be strongly in favor of the sewer expansion project for both phases 1 and 2 surrounding Stewart Creek. We believe the town council vote on June 25 was prejudiced by opposition from Wequawket Lake residents, and therefore rational consideration was not taken to Stewart Creek as a separate matter with different environmental problems from Wequawket Lake. Phase 2, therefore, was unfairly sidetracked and is inconsistent with the unanimous town council vote on April 16, 2009 in favor of Phase 1. Requests: reconsideration tonight of Phase 2 vote of June 25, leaving that this is not a new agenda item, and however, respecting your rules of the road at your next and earliest available opportunity, be it in 6 months or less. Number 2, we wish to enjoin the town manager, John Klim, and the head of the Department of Public Works, Mark Ells, to follow through on schedule with Phase 1 according to the binding vote that was taken on April 16 to the system until the house is sold. So, council members, we implore you, doing nothing is not an option at this time. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan Pendergast. I live at 64 Studley Road in Hyannis. I firmly agree with the previous speaker about his comments. Now, I have a petition that's signed by many residents, and I give them to Frederick here, right? Okay. He has the original, and these are copies.
Greenwood Avenue. I'm all in favor of the sewer project. I think it's going to cost a lot more money later on when the EPA or whatever, the Water Act gets into it. And we're only going to spend we might have to spend $70,000 per house. Thank you.
Yep, a few weeks ago, and my wife and I live at 27 Keating Road. We originally bought homes on Cumnor Street in the 70s. We bought this house, and yes, Michael Abodeely, and my wife is Daphne Abodeely. We live at 27 Keating Road. Just briefly, we bought a home on Cumnor Street in the beginning, in the 70s, and then 83 we bought this home there. We used to have friends who did boating on Stewart's Creek. And
This is Daphne Abodeely. I'd like to take it from a practical standpoint. You want to keep the town going. You want to keep the commercial property viable. If you don't take care of your beaches, you won't have anybody coming here, because what else do you have to offer but the sea and all the amenities that go with it? So you need to think about that from a commercial prospect. Thank you.
Of York. My wife and I have owned our property at 11 Studley Road since 1972, and we've lived here permanently for over 30 years. Our children remember Stewart Creek as an open body of water that was clean. They could play in it. They could fish. They even boated. In contrast, now the water is polluted, slimy, rimmed with reeds, and where accessible is loaded with poison ivy and is a repository for trash from passers-by. Obviously, the culvert is inadequate to allow proper flushing, and so the stream exiting to the beach is contaminated. The town recognizes this and has erected a cyclone fence to presumably disallow bathers from the C Street beach area to trespass over to this creek. There is a warning sign from the swim area at the fence, the size of a typical parking sign. It reads, Warning, no swimming in creek. Swimming may cause illness. And there's a big red circle and a diagonal through it and a sketch of a swimmer and not allowed.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jeff Coombs. I'm here with my wife, Gail Clear. We live on Keating Road in Hyannis, which abuts Stewart's Creek. I'm also speaking on behalf of our next-door neighbors, Kevin and Barbara Burke, who are out of town, can't be here this evening. And just for starters, to echo some of the comments that have already been made, really encourage you to consider Stewart's Creek and Wequacket Lake as the two separate issues that they really are. Seems like those lines have started to become blurred, and we'll hope that you'll consider Stewart's Creek as the separate project with the separate issues that it has. And I think one of the key issues there is, as Milton referred to, he has done the hard work of going out and talking to neighbors, and the general sense is that there's a lot of support for this project around Stewart's Creek. So in a lot of ways, what it really comes down to is the cost. Who's going to pay for this? Again, just to echo some of the sentiments of what our neighbor Daphne mentioned, the cost to the community. But really, when you get down to it, the real nuts and bolts cost of it, what's going to come out of the pockets of the taxpayers. And again, I would encourage you to consider amendments to Phase 2 that would help ease the cost that is going to be incurred by the residents who are going to pay for this. It seems like that's a much better alternative to consider amendments to Phase 2 as opposed to killing it. Several possibilities, perhaps allowing folks to delay connecting until a house is sold, just as one example. But in terms of the costs, to me it really comes down to what's the cost of jeopardizing the work that the Army Corps of Engineers has committed to. If Phase 1